Brother, I'd like to say, first of all, it's a pleasure. I'd like to thank you, Black Rose, Ms. Taylor, here for giving me the opportunity to speak directly to the people. So oftentimes that we don't get a chance, new candidates, to talk to the people, because a lot of times we feel as if the people in the streets don't matter.
Right.
We need to make sure that their voices matter, that someone's speaking for them, they're not forgotten, that whether they call it Prince George's County or PG, that everybody around here matters and benefits.
And you know what? I seen your post maybe a month and a half ago, and I said I never heard of this guy. So I started reading it. I did some research. I seen it that one time, and now I'm seeing it. So we like the process of the candidates that we bring in.
Yeah.
Now with 1 million people behind them, and that we like the process, and they stand for something. That's why we bring them here, because we see the same vision. And that's what I say. And I had told Miss Angela Taylor, and also along with BJ Page, he said, reach out to that brother. And Angela Taylor was like, tell Rose Brown to reach out to him. I told Angela Taylor, I said, we've been reaching out to Mr. Brown for like a month. We trying to get him on. So we finally got you in the booth. You're now plugged in. I want Rose Brown to kick this off. Rose Brown, ask Mr. Everett a question you want to ask.
Tell us what you want to do for Maryland.
Well, Maryland for District 24.
We're District 24.
And that's right.
And like I said, I'm running for State Senate for Maryland, District 24 in Prince George's County, which covers areas from Bowie to Mitchellville, Woodmore, Largo, Glendale. But then it also goes over it also moves over to Suitland, Seat Pleasant, and Capitol Heights.
Okay.
So you get the whole reach of Prince George's County. You got some people who average income is 6 figures, and other people who want a fixed income of minimum wage, just trying to make it by. But right now, what's happening as Prince George's County grows, everybody's not having a seat at the table. Recently, earlier today, I was at a meeting talking about the new hospital coming to Largo, and my question was, I'm glad the hospital is coming up, but why don't I see any programs to make sure either in a high school or college that we're training the next generation of employees there? Why isn't there an increase in nursing, CNA, x-ray technicians? Why aren't we making sure that the local people who are paying taxes to build this hospital, that their kids, their great-grandkids don't have a pipeline to be employed there? Right now, Prince George's County brags all the time about being the most affluent and educated African-American county in the nation. However,
where do we rank now?
Right now, we rank number one as far as money education, but when it comes to our school system, we're next to last. When it comes to our taxes, we pay the most. When it comes to foreclosure rates, we're almost the highest in the nation. And when it comes to black-owned businesses, we're almost at the bottom. So the truth is, we're almost like a plantation in a way. We have all the talent people doing the work, but we don't own anything besides our homes. Most of the young businesses around here who are coming up are struggling. When they look at the taxes, we look at the permits, it doesn't seem to be a big push to make sure that we benefit in this county. And a little about myself, I did 21 years in the military. I've been in Iraq, I've been in Afghanistan. I served my country, and I started serving my country because, like most people, I was a teenage father. I had 3 kids by the time I was 20, and I'm proud to say now I have 3 kids who are college graduates, 3 kids with graduate degrees and 1 in law school. So I understand what it's like when people invest in you and see more than you from where you come from. Currently, I'm the vice president of 100 Black Men of Prince George's County Mentoring Program. And so we're constantly out there talking to these young men. And a lot of times I feel as if between the age maybe like 14 and say like 35, no one's having a conversation with that generation.
Right.
Everyone's so happy to be about, well, I got my house and I got mine, but no one's reaching out and says, who I'm passing this on to? No matter what we do, we are not living forever. The MGM, the hospital, and all these things are coming. It's going to be passed on. And this generation we're in right now, it's like we don't understand. Sometimes you plant seeds for fruit that's not for you. It's for the next generation. And my life been blessed. I own a few businesses. I do acquisition. I do contracts. But when I looked around, I asked myself, at the end of the day, I fought for my country. I fought for other countries. But I didn't fight for my community. And I didn't make my community a place where I can feel good feeling as if my daughters and my grandkids can grow up and have the same opportunities I have. So for me, it wasn't a matter of I need politics to define my life. The greatest things I've done in my life was raise my kids and serve my country. So I'm good with what's going to be said with me in my obituary. What I'm not good about is the fact that what I'm leaving behind.
Right.
And there's a lot of people, I was the same way. I was frustrated. So I'm in a barber shop. I'm around the church, around my friends, I'm complaining. Why are schools so bad? Why are jobs so bad? Why are opportunities so bad? And then I realized, like, if we don't raise our frustrations from a conversation to activation, all we're doing is being a part of the problem.
Exactly. I've got a couple of questions,
Yes,
just based on what you have already shared. Because I contend that we, parents are there during elementary school.
Yes.
We lose our kids at the middle school phase, and
Yes.
parents are there on the end. Now, I'm remembering probably about 5-7 years ago, Prince George's County ranked very highly nationwide in its education system. What has happened since then? That you say, are you saying that we're at the bottom?
Well, we're right, statewide, we're right behind Baltimore County when it comes to performance and looking at graduation rates, test scores, and kids going to college. But I ask people all the time, how do we measure success when it comes to education? A lot of times people say, well, how many kids are graduating and how many going to college? But you only have maybe 30% going to college. So how are we measuring that those other 70% are prepared to be free citizens? How do we make sure? Because we took away the vocational training, we took away the skills training, and what happened was we had the same amount of students and pretty much the same budget as Montgomery County. But their students, they're ranked in the top 5 and we're in the bottom 5, basically for 2 reasons. We pay so much money to our administrators. Our top people are not even in the classrooms.
Wow, yeah.
And then we have so many infrastructure problems.
So do you think these people are getting paid too much and not qualified? You said we had the same budget as Moe County. These people make a lot of money, but are they qualified for these positions? We have a lot of problems in Prince George's County schools. We
have a lot of problems in the school system nationwide.
Yes, we do. Yes,
because they have taken too many things out of the system that our children need to effectively function in society. They've taken out phonics in many schools. Of course, they've taken out civics and government, so people do not understand the importance of the political process. Nobody is holding a town hall to explain to the community that we, the people, run the government. People just poo-poo elections because they say, well, they're going to do what they are going to do anyway, because nobody's educating them on the fact that they are the voice. They are the people who put the folks in the office to run the government. So what are you doing in that vein, Mr.
The biggest thing I realized, like most people here, I was ignorant myself to a certain degree about, you get so caught up with CNN in the news, you look what's happening down in D.C. and nationally, but you don't realize your schools, your taxes, your jobs, your opportunities always start locally. And like most people, I couldn't even tell anybody who my state delegate was, who my state senator was, who my county councilman was, when the last time I have been, but most people couldn't, where we were. And then when I start asking those questions, I realized something real simple. And this 80% black Mecca, when I looked at, we have the longest serving president of a state senate in the nation. Right here in Prince George's County, who the state building is named after him. He runs everything in the county, and it's a white man named Mike Miller. Then when you look at the majority whip, is a man named J.J. Peters. So the president, the majority whip, the superintendent of our school system, the chief of our police are all white men in this black Mecca. And I say, okay, I don't want to assume that, white men or white people can't be over black people, but you show me a place that's 80% white where you have black people in charge and making and calling the shots.
But a big part of that problem, Mr. Browning, is that we're not educating
we're
our
not.
community. Because education is not confined to a classroom. We're not doing enough to reach out to the community.
And Prince George's County is a unique place. You almost have a lot of people who come in here first generation, a lot of people who were blessed and they move here, so they don't have that community feel, so they don't feel they're informed. And to tell you the truth, I talk to a lot of people, and in my opinion, coming from the South is, we're the first generation who has a voice, but we don't know how to use it. Meaning, when I talk to my father and my grandmother, they told me that when they went to a school, no matter how bad a school was, they really weren't empowered to complain because they was told, you blessed to be able to go to school. You blessed to have somewhere to go eat. So they didn't complain. They was in a mindset of you take what you have and be thankful for it and make the most of it. So we need to change that mindset and realize we pay the most taxes in the state. We've earned the right to stand up and say we deserve better. In other counties around here, we hold our elected officials accountable. We elect the same people over and over again and ask what's the problem, because we allowed our leadership to do something that's crazy. They stand up and take credit for everything that's great. But when something goes wrong, it's never them. They point their finger and it confuses. They say, well, that's not me. That's the school board. That's the county exec. That's the state legislature. That's the county. If you're not informed, you don't exec. There's a long list of names of people we don't know what the office do. We don't know those people, and we check the box. And so while the people in office are accountable, we own our own responsibility. We own our own responsibility, and it's up to elected officials. In District 24, I have 85,000 registered Democrats. In the last couple of elections, it's been below 15,000 showing up to vote.
Exactly. Yeah. Because again, we do not take the initiative, not only in the school system, but in the community, to let folks know that you are the voice of the government. And we have to get folks in office who will take the initiative to go out in the community and to do that, or at least to form a group of people who will go out as their liaison to educate people about that. That's a big reason why I love being involved with this show, because it gives me a voice. People, if they don't know, if they listen to Focus Phil, they will know. Right. Because exactly. I did not come from the background that you came from. I came from a background of accountability. I'm a senior citizen, and I'm a lot closer to the end than I am to the beginning. I saw my father go out and go up to the schools. If something wasn't right in the school, I saw my mother check the teacher if her qualifications weren't intact. If she wasn't giving us what my mother, who went to DC teachers way back when, needed, then she would take the responsibility and the initiative to say, hey, we could be doing some different stuff here. Yeah. This is where I came from. This is where I am, and this is what I teach my children. And I'm really, I cannot even put into words how I feel about the way elected officials, in particularly, the classroom teachers, and the what's the CEO's name?
Maxwell.
Maxwell, yeah,
is telling folks that you have to. They're trying to revert back to social promotion. You're a certain age, so you got to move to the next grade. We're sending people through the school system nationwide who are not equipped to go out to college. And when they do apply, they have to take 2 and 3 semesters of remedial courses so they can be prepared to take the college courses. So ergo, 3 to 4 years has turned into 7 to 8 years. What are you going to do to start to change that dynamic?
Well, the first thing, the first bill I want to push for education is accountability. We need to go in there and do an audit and see where's all the money going. And second of all, we need to take all this standardized testing. We test a kid in 3rd grade, and if he scores a certain way, we take him out of a certain class, but we don't realize that day he took that class, he might not have breakfast for the last 2 days. He might come from an abused household, but that day on that test, we define his future. So we need to take out the standardized testing and make sure that the money is getting to the classroom, that the classrooms are updated to the 24th century. And next, we need to partner with people. I work right now with the Intel community, and I go in there all day. I don't see enough people looking like me walking those halls, but I hear them all the time talking about we don't have enough people coming up in a pipeline to work those. So we need to bring in different partners to bring the STEM training in, to bring different avenues to prepare our kids to be successful. Every kid is not ready to go to college right away. And just because the kid is not going to college doesn't mean he can't be successful right away. We need to prepare people and define that word success. Or do you have a skill? Do you have a path to lead your life? And so we need to stop saying, do you meet a certain mark, therefore we're going to push you, instead of saying every kid's an opportunity. And the next thing we got to do, the truth is, we got to start holding everybody accountable.
Everybody.
The parents have to be accountable.
That you have the motto that you have is a breath of fresh air. Accountability, integrity, and results.
Yes. I'm real big on that. I believe if you step up and you decide you want to lead, whether you're a parent, whether you're a community leader, whether you're a radio host, that's a sense of accountability because people look up to you. So you need to make sure that you say, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect, but I'm doing the best I can, and that you're transparent. When I say integrity, there's a lot of business people, and there's a lot of people in the community who don't trust their leadership. And I'm not just talking about your political leadership. I'm not trying to step on any toes, but they don't trust a lot of the people in the church right now. They feel as if everybody's out for themselves, and they don't care about the community. They don't have a voice right now, and that's why when I first started doing this, I started going into a lot of the political meetings. I was seeing the same people, but I wasn't seeing any of the people who was going through problems. And so that's when I was blessed to get with brothers like BJ Page, who say, you know what, let me take you to the real PG. Let me show you people who are really going through things, who've been here for years, who's struggling. And these people don't want to leave. They don't want to move outside the Beltway. They don't want to move to Mitchellville. They just want their community to get back to what it was. And I realized I need to stop running for an office and start realizing I'm running to represent people. I need to go on a job interview, and I need to talk to all my bosses. But I have to make sure that everyone realizes you have to show up and vote. You have to hold me accountable. If I ain't doing my job, call me, text me, knock on my door, come to my office, stand behind me when I fight for you. When I'm down there fighting for money, when I'm fighting for educational programs, I need the community behind me. I'm not speaking for myself, I'm speaking for the community.
That's right.
And that's things that I get moved. But as we have to stop measuring success on the number of people that we get subsidies to, and the number of people that the amount of people we move from subsidies to being self-sufficient.
So what are some tools you feel as though that's needed to be successful?
The biggest thing I tell you the truth, I tell people is, regardless of your background, what you need to do, you need to believe in yourself. You need to believe that anything is possible. And if no one is telling you great, you need to find, if you're in a room and you're the smartest person in that room, you need to leave that room. If you're in a room and everybody is agreeing with you around, you need to leave that. And I understand a lot of times we talk about our young kids having PTSD. And I was mentoring a lot of kids who said, well, we got to work with those kids and give them tools. But I told them, in a war zone, we don't treat PTSD in a war zone, because those same feelings of alertness, that keeps you alive. And those tools are keeping our kids alive. So we need to change our kids' environment. Mm-hmm. And so that tools of success is for to say, you know what, I have no problem helping you, but you got to put in your work too. You got to put in your work too. And we can't be afraid as black people to start turning our lights on. We can't be afraid to start opening our closet doors and say, this is broke in our community. It can't always be the man that's doing it to us. He's holding us back. Because as long as we don't get together, we give them the power to hold us back. But once we come together and say, we're not going to tolerate this. I don't care how much money you make. I understand, it's hard sometimes for mothers and fathers working 2 jobs to go to school, but you got to go to that school. You got to check your kid homework. You got to be more invested in your kid's future than yourself. And then also we got to make sure that as these new buildings are coming up and they're telling us 13,000 jobs are coming to the county, but then they say, well, we don't have the skill set in the county to hire people here, so we got to go outside. We got to say, no, you're getting a $20 million tax break to bring your business here. You will invest to make sure that our people are trained to be there. It's about showing up. Number one thing that we can do to change this county around is to show up. Show up to vote. Show up to your HOA. Show up to your PTA meeting. Show up to your city council meeting. Show up to your county council meeting. Show up down in the north and let them know that this is your home. You're not going nowhere, and no longer we will be silent. And don't go by yourself. Drag somebody down there. If all you're doing is being frustrated and sitting around and saying this is wrong, then you know what, you're wrong too. Because I realized I was in that same position where I was pointing and said somebody needs to step up. Somebody needs to do it. Why is this wrong? How can we fix it? Then I realized the big question is who? Who's responsible? Who's accountable? And if I'm not putting my name out there, if I'm not willing to, because when you run for office, it costs a lot of money. Mm-hmm. When you run for office, people come after you. They go out through your taxes. They go through your background. Exactly. They go through your family and Facebook, and you expose yourself. So I understand that risk. But I put my life on the line for this country. So for me, if I can't put my life on my line for this community, my family, then all I did before doesn't matter. So it's about a moment doesn't become a movement without sacrifice. We want to live in the moment of this is a great black place. But we don't get a movement unless, what are we sacrificing? And it can't be more than I'm going to show up and vote. Is what am I going to do to get the right people elected? What am I going to do to make sure the people in office are accountable? What am I going to do to make sure that my voice is heard, that the needs of my community is there? It's more than just pulling a lever. It's more than just going on Facebook and saying this ain't right, I don't care about this. It's more than sitting around doing the card game in church and talking. It's what are you sacrificing?
What
are you
are you
sacrificing?
willing to do?
Yes,
We have
what
to
are you
roll
doing?
up our sleeves.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
and
ma'am.
get busy.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
let me ask you, rehabilitation for ex-offenders.
Yes. So the first one of the first events I held was an expungement fair. I set a lot of brothers. I got family members, I'm not gonna lie, who've been through things. So I held an expungement fair at Suitland Library, at Spalding Library. And I brought in lawyers and I brought in employers. And what we did was, if you brought your records in and there was things we can get off your records so you can apply for a job, we did that for you for free. And we had employers on the spot hiring offenders. And we had Prince George's County, I had Prince George's County Community College there, working with an amazing brother named Chef Everett'Browning, who's over the culinary school down there, who was saying he takes an ex-offenders, trains them in culinary schools, entrepreneurship, and he puts his name on the line and goes with them down to the Gaylord at MGM.
Where is that?
PGCC, Chef Everett'Browning. He puts his name on the line. He trains these brothers up, takes them down there and says, listen, I understand you may be hesitant to hire this ex-offender, but I'm put my name on the line. So working with brothers like that. So I've done expungement fair for brothers like that. Right now, I'm working with a group to try to bring the first transition house here, working with BJ Page and some other brothers. Say, how can we get a transition house here so when brothers come home, they have a support system so they don't have to go to, DC has a lot of services.
I was shocked to hear that.
There's no halfway house, no
BJ
trans
Page told
house.
us, yeah.
People go to DC and get services, but these brothers are coming home. As long as these brothers are not home, our families are suffering. Our young men are not seeing role models. There's no one here to protect our sisters. There's no one saying that you can fall and get back up. So I've held expungement fairs. I'm working on a transition house, and I'm doing all I can to make sure that not only do they have jobs, but they have careers, that they have the opportunity to stand up and go in our community.
And did you follow the? Because I know Victor Ramirez. He's over my way. He's done that same kind of thing too, but I don't think that he had employers there. I mean, he held the expungement fair.
Yeah, and it was there was a lot of great people who had a expungement fair. The first one I went to was held by Angela Alsterbrook, and that's how I found out that there's a lot of things on record, but it costs a lot for brothers to get their record clear. So things they don't automatically come off. Right. So I started to do it, but then I went to another one. I realized brothers said, "Okay, my record is cleared, but the skill set of how do I apply for a job?" So we have brothers there doing job training on resumes. Then I said, let me bring employers and let these brothers know that we're not going to be a one-day thing. So we had employers there, we had training people there, and we also had organizations that had support groups there. Because a lot of times what we do is we do events to make us feel good. We do, I told people, we do like Christmas or turkey giveaways. I felt good because I gave a certain amount of money to give a Christmas to a homeless family. But you know what? The next day, they got told us, but they still homeless. What have you done? Have you invested in their lives? And just telling them, brothers, I cleaned your record off, but I haven't helped you prepare yourself to be successful. All I did was make myself feel good so I can brag to my friends that I'm socially conscious. But if I'm not looking at your tomorrow and I'm just investing in this day, then I'm not making your life better. All I'm doing is make stuff better.
I've got another question.
Yes,
here.
ma'am.
I see you doing all this stuff on the, and I'm going to say the high end. But what are we doing to prepare parenting programs? Prince George's County, to my knowledge, has little, if any, parenting programs. There are been a lot of problems over the past couple of years with folks abusing kids in daycare. You get young people who are trying to get that minimum wage job so they can have some change in their pocket. We're not equipping the parents, I guess that's what I'm saying. Is there anything in your platform that's going to start preparing these babies who have had babies to, get them some kind of a foundation, some value structure, so they'll know what to teach or reinforce at home and at school? Did that make sense?
It makes sense. Like I said to you before, I had my first kid at 15, and I was there, and I understand what it's like when you're trying to figure out your life yourself. You're responsible for someone else.
Exactly.
And the problem we're having, there are some programs here, but the truth is, a lot of time, most parents aren't humble enough to say, I need help. And that's a problem that we have. But what we have to do is, and I've said this, I went to a lot of churches and I told this. I said, the churches ain't always saying the doors of the church are open. And I said, that means they're open for people to come in, but they're also open for the churches to go out in the community and start doing these programs like in the morning or at night, to do it with dignity. We have to find a way to help people without making them feel ashamed that that they need help, that we're looking down on, that we're doing you a favor. You can help people with dignity because most people want to be on their own. They want to stand on their own. Stop telling them you got to keep showing up for a handout and stop preparing them. And so what I said before is, as we giving all these millions, tens of millions of dollars of tax breaks to the hospital, to Kaiser, to MG, all those different places building here, we need to tell them part of that program is you're going to get a free grant and scholarship program at a community college or a trade school for local parents and citizens and young people to come get trained up. And you have to do them. You have to do them at night. You have to do them in the daytime where people can go there. We have to find a way to tell people we're going to meet you halfway. We're going to give you opportunity. And that's the big thing. The biggest thing I think we can offer anybody is opportunity with dignity. Now, some people we know, unfortunately, just want a handout. They don't want to put that work in. But if you have someone to say, I made a mistake, my life is off, I want to do better, we have to give them the avenue. There are so many great free programs in this county, so many great 503, so many great organizations, but they don't have the budget to market, so people don't know about it. So to a certain degree, I wonder why the government isn't a bridge to get people in need to the good people who are trying to make a difference. And so many programs around here are fighting for the same grant money that they're cutting throats on each other. Yeah. We need to build that network need to be like a net that catches everybody and has to stop being a way of my nonprofit is better than your nonprofit, but we're not getting to the people in need because they can't give back to us. It has to be a focus where people in leadership and government have to stop looking out for themselves and look out for the people. We have so many public officials that the only thing they know how to do is be in government. They don't, that's their job. That's their main source of income. So getting elected to them is more important than serving. So whatever they got to do to make sure they get the money for whoever they get to, whoever they got to cut through, as long as they get their job, because unfortunately they know people are not going to vote.
Well, let me ask you this, Mr. Browning. What needs to be done so that the minority folks can benefit as far as low income education, health awareness, and like Mrs. Taylor said, parenting?
Yes.
So as far as for the low income, we don't want them to stay at that same level.
No.
And what I have seen is this generation from generation, and maybe because the programs aren't in place for employment, or maybe more training as far as because a lot of these people have skills.
They do.
But they've been generational cursed. I've seen people with low income take advantage of the system.
Yes. And
we get tired of it, especially when we can't get these tax breaks. And they're giving them to the rich and not us, and raising ours.
Okay, coupled with the fact, because I'd like to revisit, you said something about helping people and giving them dignity. If you teach people, give them a foundation. How about teaching them some humility so they won't be apprehensive about asking? And that's where the parenting piece or the foundation and the 101 basic stuff comes in. These people out here don't know. And when babies have babies, you cannot teach what you do not know. We have got to do something at that foundational level before we can see some change going up the ladder.
And I think that starts with accountability. Both of you said, we'll say, you know what? I'm going to give you these subsidies. I'm going to give you these training. Mm-hmm. But in return, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have the community. You're going to have to volunteer at the school, whether it's cleaning up or working in the cafeteria. You're going to help us. I'm going to clean up, work at a senior citizen home or one of that's part. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to humble yourself to realize this is not free. We're going to give you the opportunity to be self-sufficient, but you're going to have to give back. Because most of us, there's a lot of people right now who've put in that work, who sacrifice, who pour themselves up. Then we have family members and friends we feel as if are just getting over. And we're like, wait a minute, this is not right. So it's not a matter of us not caring about giving back, but we were saying, do your part too. So we need, like you said before, we need to make sure that humility comes. You get humility and dignity when you say, all right, this assistant comes with a requirement, a responsibility on your part. Exactly. Now, if you're not willing to show up at the school a couple of hours a week, if you're not willing to pick up trash, if you're not willing to volunteer to senior home, then you know what? You don't want to be a part of this collective community. Then good luck on yourself. It's not us turning our back on you, but it's the saying that, there are other people who work and paying taxes to benefit you, and you owe. You can't go in a restaurant and say, well, I'm going to eat for free because I don't make as much money as that person. No, everybody got to pay one way or another. And so we got to get there and do that. And so we need to make sure that humility comes. And, you know, like our brother Focus was saying, we need to make sure that we're given opportunities early in life. We need to make sure that to a certain degree that those of us who are able are going back to the communities and say, are either you be a part of the solution or you got to go. We can't sit around and say that the people destroying our community, regardless of their color, that we accept it, that we understand it. We understand that right now there's a lot of people out there who don't have opportunities to go to work, who don't have opportunity to be educated, and so they have to do what they have to do to turn to crime. But if we give them opportunities and you still choose to destroy our community, we have to stop that. We have seniors who maybe in the late 70s came here in Prince George's County when black folks weren't allowed. They got their homes, their neighbors threatened them, they couldn't go to certain schools, and they fought and they stayed and they built. And now some of these seniors are in these homes and they're afraid to go outside because these kids are threatening them. I was one of
those people.
They're afraid to go outside, or the community is growing and they can't afford to stay there because the taxes are going so high and the rent control. And so we need to make sure we protect those, but we do that by being, I say, accountability, meaning that we are accountable to the citizens, but the citizens have to be accountable to the community. We can't let anybody off the hook because we'll quick to point the finger when we fall. But we got to start saying everybody benefits.
It is everybody.
Everybody owes. We all owe, because I want sometimes I go places in Prince George's County and it feel good at certain restaurants and see just good black people. I'm not feeling threatened. I'm feeling good. And I'm just like, these are my people. Everybody's doing okay. We're laughing and joking. And I've been around the world. And I haven't seen anything like it. And I want my kids, I want my grandkids, I want my great-grandkids to know that this is our home. I can be successful here, I can be safe here, I can be blessed here, but it comes with a price. It comes with a price of leadership and ownership. And getting mine is not enough. And because it wasn't fair, then I got the right to act up. And a lot of times people come at me and they say, Everett, you new to politics. You coming off too angry. You coming off too frustrated. And I say, well, if you think I'm frustrated, obviously, you ain't talked to some of these senior citizens around here. You ain't talked to some of these moms around here in the school system. You ain't talked to some of the people who don't have a grocery store in their neighborhood. You haven't talked to some, people who've been these young people looking for jobs. And so the big thing, all the thing that they do is, I have, my kids are in their 20s, and I'm figuring out how to try to talk to them. And that's why I'm loving this radio station, because there's a generation of kids who have an amazing mindset. They have amazing creativity in the things they do, but they don't seem as if anyone's listening to them. That anyone's communicating with them or realizing that, a lot of us saying, hey, nobody listened to us when we was in our 20s. You don't know enough. But we have to find a way to engage this next generation, because right now they're not on the path to understanding that they have to be part of the solution.
Okay, I think the key is that individually, we don't take the responsibility to become better.
Yes.
Because if we become better, we can make those people around us better and inspire them to do the same.
Right.
That's the first responsibility I believe that we have as a human being.
But we have to inspire people again. I think a lot of people don't believe that they deserve better. A lot of people have accepted that situation as this is just what it's like to be a black person in this country. So we have to, before, they don't even want to be better because they don't know what better looks like. So we have to show them what better is and get there. We have to get them to better. We have to get them to believe that they have an opportunity to be great, that they have an opportunity to provide for themselves, and that they're responsible on them. So we have to find a way to inspire them, to teach them, to show them, and not get so frustrated when they don't see it, when they're comfortable, and hold them accountable. We got to start knocking on those doors. Politicians, business owners can't be afraid, to come out in 5-degree weather just on a Saturday night to sit down with some real people, like Black Rose, like yourself, Focus.
Everett'Browning is saying it right here on Phocuzradio. Is Monteria Robinson on the phone?
Not yet. She hung up. Okay.
I'm sorry. Miss Monteria Robinson on the phone all the way from ATL. Hold on for 1 second for me, Miss Robinson. Right here with Everett'Browning saying on Phocuzradio. Get out and vote. Why should people vote for Everett'Browning saying?
The simple thing is simple. If you're happy with the way things are, if you're happy with the direction, if you feel as if you have a voice, if you feel as if the things are going great in Prince George's County, then don't come out and vote. But if you're tired of the status quo, if you want someone to show up who has a proven track record of not only going to war, but being invested in the community, someone who's unbossed and unbought, and someone you know at any time when you call, I'm going to answer. I tell people support me 2 things. When you call me, I'm going to answer, and 2, you're going to know where I stand. You might not always agree with me, but my word is going to mean something. And, giving back is something I owe. So I ask people, vet me. Call me, make me earn your respect and your vote, and remind me every day I work for you. So my website is electbrowning.com. Find me on Elect Browning on Facebook. Give me a chance to talk to you about the community. Give me a chance to educate you on what you can do. But most importantly, give yourself a chance to be more than just frustrating and talking. Do a little things, whether it's giving money, whether it's knocking on doors, whether it's going to events. Get involved. Next Friday in Woodmore, I'm having an event. You can go to my website and find out about it. And my event is about bringing everybody. I talk to people from everywhere, from the Sugar Shack down to the Country Club. I talk to everybody back and forth because I believe we're only as good as the people we get involved. We need all voices. No matter how much money you make, it don't matter your education level. If you're dedicated to your community, we're going to be a part of it. So if you're frustrated and you're tired of just talking about it, if you want to be a part of a movement and not just a moment in time, give me a chance to serve you.
Heard it first, y'all, right here on Phocuzradio. Everett'Browning Sr. running for District 24, State Senate of Maryland. Get involved, get connected, get plugged in. You are now plugged in to Phocuzradio.
And if I could just add a PS on that, don't ever tell people don't vote. We got to get them used to the process. I'm tired of a whole lot of things, but instead of talking about it, I'm going to be about it. And folks, as Mr. Browning said, he said, if you're